What's up? I'm Brianna Ivy, and this is the Hear from a Student podcast.
I'm all right. I'm chilling. How are you doing?
I'm good. It's good to see you. I'm good. I'm glad to see you still, thriving. Yes. So start off by introducing yourself to the people. Let us know your name, your major, and what year you are, and what school you go to.
All right. My name is Dunsin Awodele. I'm a fourth year aerospace engineering student at Georgia Tech. Is that everything? Yeah.
So before you got to Georgia Tech, before you became a fourth year, you were in high school at some point, right? When you were a senior in high school, why did you decide that you wanted to study aerospace? Like, did you have an experience or did you have interests that you thought best aligned with aerospace?
Yeah. I always knew that wanted to do Air Force RTC, like being an officer in the Air Force. And I figured that aerospace engineering fits really well with the Air Force. But like when I first kind of started thinking about doing it, I Googled, highest paying engineering degrees, and computer engineering is too hard. So no, but seriously, I just always like planes. I always like aircraft, and it's just something that lines up with my interests a lot.
Mhm.
But yeah, no, just a lot of the pros with it. Like it's a really awesome field. It's a big area. Air Force RTC. It just kind of lined up.
Okay. And then why Georgia Tech? Was it something special about tech or were you just like, this will be cool?
Yeah, well, see, I'm from Georgia, so it's one of the best engineering schools in the country, and we're like number one in aerospace engineering right now. So it's a pretty much a no-brainer, like going here with Zell Miller and everything. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Yes. In-state tuition really changes things. Yeah. When you got into your studies, so now you're studying and you have like some aerospace classes, what were your favorite topics that you got to study? And maybe what was your favorite topic?
my favorite topic probably between aerodynamics and then systems, like aerospace systems engineering. Aerodynamics, because that's like basically like pure like aerospace in terms of just lift, drag, things like that.
Mhm.
Systems is awesome because you're dealing with complex like different subsystems. Like you're looking at propulsion, looking at aerodynamics, looking at the structure, and seeing how all these things interact with each other. And that's a because I want to be a program manager one day, so that's a really awesome area to be involved with, and then continue on with my career. So yeah, systems is something that's pretty awesome. Like I enjoyed it.
Yeah. What maybe was your least favorite
Yeah.
topic?
Oh, I've got a couple. Controls has to be by far my like not even just least favorite. Like I really don't like controls. And then structures. Those are probably my least favorite ones.
Okay.
But yeah, definitely controls. A lot of people really like it, but yeah, controls is pretty
Yeah.
hard.
I don't know if there's uh, a lot of similarities or differences between the electrical version of controls and the aerospace version of
Mm,
controls, but I would just like you to know that I too did not like my EE controls class. Was
yeah,
not fun. So
no. Like I said, some people really like it. I've met one of those people.
yeah. And so it structures just like structures of aircrafts, like that kind of thing.
Yeah, it's a lot of like stress, strain, things like that. I think like it was probably like I don't have enough experience in it, but from my exposure to it, I just don't care too much for it.
Very valid.
Yeah.
What's been one of your favorite projects that you've gotten to work on, or research projects or class projects?
Yeah, there's a couple. So my current research is in aerothermodynamics, which is hypersonics essentially.
Okay.
So it's a really cool project because we have an in-lab CFD solver, and the PhD student I work under, he's creating an extension to it that's going to allow it to essentially solve viscous solutions faster.
Okay.
Um, and I'm just doing validation for it. So I'm learning a lot of just the techniques that we're using to validate CFD software, which is really
Okay.
cool. That's probably that's what I'm doing right now. It's a lot of fun. In the past, I worked on the MQ-25 air autonomous refueling aircraft under Boeing. It's like a Navy program, so that was a
Yeah.
lot of fun. Yeah, because it was like it's a program that's still in development, and I got to like kind of see a lot of like early like parts of it.
Yeah.
Um, and it's going to be sent out to the fleet and everything in I think 3 years, 5 years.
Oh,
It's really cool.
yeah. Okay, okay. And for your research project now, you said a lot of acronyms, but you're validating.
Yeah, CFD software. So that's computational fluid dynamics.
Okay.
Essentially,
Would have never guessed that.
so yeah, there's a lot of acronyms in aerospace. So it's essentially a software representation of like fluid flow over an object. So instead of doing a wind tunnel test, you can actually just run CFD software and
Mm,
then get some results, some solutions from it without like having to spend a ton of money on running wind tunnel testing.
yeah.
So really good software, a really good solver. You can save a lot of money by just running that. And then you can do a lot of predictions as well for some things that are really hard to do in wind tunnel testing, like for example, hypersonics.
Yeah.
A Mach 5 wind tunnels very expensive. So
Yeah.
you can do a lot of your like understanding how things work in the simulation.
Yeah. Okay. And for anyone who doesn't know, what is hypersonics? Like very high
Yeah.
level.
High level hypersonics is things that are going Mach 5 or above, and Mach 5 is 5 times faster than the speed of sound. So
Wow. Okay.
yeah, very, very fast.
Yeah.
So it's a big growing area in terms of like defense. And there's another company startup in Atlanta called Hermes. They're trying to make a Mach 5 passenger jet. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
but yeah, it's hypersonics is just it was big for NASA in terms of planetary reentry.
Mm-hmm.
When like the space shuttle reenters or anything really reenters the atmosphere, it generally goes hypersonic. So you start creating like a lot of high temperatures, a lot of you know things you have to consider without getting into the details. It's just
Yeah.
things that are going very, very fast.
Yeah. Okay, that makes sense. That makes sense. Um, what would you say was or is the most challenging thing about studying aerospace?
Definitely the workload. But honestly, like some imposter syndrome is probably like the hardest part. Like the workload like kind of beats you down because
Yeah.
it can be a lot. Like I just comparing with like a lot of my friends, like our labs have a lot of like reports. Like I think I've written now like 20 reports
Mm-hmm.
the last like 4 years, just because it's a lot of report writing in our labs and such. So yeah, that's probably the hardest one is a lot of workload, but really just like because especially at Georgia Tech, there's a lot of very high performers. Like everyone was like really smart here. Everyone that graduated and goes here is extremely smart. So like just you feel kind of like you might feel like down or whatever, like working with such smart people, but just
Mm-hmm.
understanding that everyone is also struggling.
Yeah.
It's not easy. It's rocket science. um,
Literally.
so yeah, that took me the longest time to kind of figure out. Is that like I got here for a reason.
Yeah.
So
Is that the biggest thing that helped you kind of overcome your imposter syndrome is realizing that you're there for a reason?
I mean, it wasn't. I will say, didn't overcome it internally. Like I actually had some, like my intro professor to aerospace engineering, like the intro professor actually allowed me to do research for her, and that kind of like helped me realize that hey, even though I'm struggling, there's still something I'm doing right, to be able to work as an undergrad researcher as just a first year. So that
Yeah.
like helped me like okay, I'm good enough, I'm I'm
Yeah.
I'm I'm smart.
Yeah. I feel like if you ask any Georgia Tech student, especially African American Georgia Tech student, I mean,
Yeah.
start there, they'll probably have a similar story because it was especially those first 2 semesters for me trying to like get my footing and struggling so much in the beginning. Because when you struggle in the beginning, you really feel like, should I really be doing this? Like, I can't even get through the intro courses. Is
Oh
this
man,
really
yeah.
my thing? But having good teachers and professors and people to kind of pour into you and like help encourage you really does help with that process of overcoming imposter syndrome. So shout out to those great professors. They know
Yeah.
who they are. And the other ones, they know who they are too. um, you mentioned labs. What kind of things are you doing in your aerospace labs? Because I'm
So
just going to be honest, as a non-aerospace major, I always think that you guys are like building something that flies. And I don't know that that's really accurate.
yeah, so um aerospace engineering, I would say, is an end goal. And there's different pipelines to get to that end goal, if that makes sense. So you can have two people that are aerospace engineers doing completely different things, but they're still aerospace engineers. So the labs are very multidisciplinary within aerospace engineering. So we'll do wind tunnel testing where we collect either subsonic or supersonic wind tunnel data, which is like either slower or faster than the speed of sound. And that changes a lot of things in terms of your assumptions. So we'll run the wind tunnel and we'll collect data and everything like that. There's some tensile and structures like labs where we crush cans or I forgot what it's called. It's like a dog bone specimen where it's like you pull it apart and you do like stress versus strain of
Mm,
that, things like that. We had a lab where we did like a dynamical control of a helicopter, like um, spinning like the arm. So, like seeing how it's, converged and stabilized. There's a whole lab just based off of like dynamical control systems. So,
mm.
as someone that doesn't like controls, that will be fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then a combustion lab as well. So we ran an engine, like I think it was a jet engine, and we did that and collected a lot of the results to actually view the temperature changes within the combustor, the turbine, and the compressor and things like that.
Wow. That's so interesting. I was just on a plane like yesterday, 2 days ago, and I just look out the window and think to myself, somebody really had to build this thing that is flying me, I don't know how many miles through the sky,
Yeah,
and it's not falling. And so shout out to them. So shout
yeah.
out to you.
No, actually, because half of those 3610 labs, which is like the 3000 level labs, are in the combustion lab off campus. So we have a combustion lab where I don't do that. They do, like basically just propulsion, they just research propulsion, so engine combustion. They have a supersonic wind tunnel. Um, that's the most I can say about it. I'm not
Yeah.
that much of a propulsion person, but I know they do a lot of.
What is your bread and butter inside of aerospace? Like, what's your thing?
My thing is probably systems. I've done now 3 internships in systems engineering and
Okay.
some flavor of it. And I'm actually trying to go to Aerospace Systems Design Lab for my GRA,
Ooh,
uh,
okay.
for my master's. So hopefully that works out well. But
Yeah.
it's kind of like the area that I've adopted just because I like looking at it from a big top level perspective.
I do hope that works out for you. I'll be excited to hear about it. What roles have you had in your internships?
Okay, so I guess like my first technical internship was STEM outreach, where I worked for the Heinz Family Foundation and the Georgia Space Grant Consortium as an outreach ambassador, where I was like creating STEM projects for like schools in Atlanta and like being a partner with Georgia Space Grant Consortium. The first big like actual internship I got was at Boeing doing model-based systems engineering. Um, I can't really explain it without like a diagram because it's all very visual and stuff. But
Okay.
essentially, it's using models to represent the systems engineering process. That's
Okay.
so you can trace the requirements down to like what the components are. That's the easiest way to describe it.
Okay.
Um, then last summer I worked at Boeing as a integration systems engineer. So it was a lot more project management, which is a lot of like processes. So like getting like I call it paper whip engineering because it's like some engineers do things, and the government wants things, and there needs to be someone that like collects these things that the engineers do and sends it to the government.
Yeah.
So I was eliciting a lot of like qual documents and test reports and things like that from engineers, compiling it and reading through it to make sure it actually meets the requirements that the Navy wrote for us.
Yeah.
Um, so it was like checking the box on a lot of things, but you have to kind of know what know what you're reading, because it
Yeah.
can be kind of like mumbo jumbo like jargon if you don't understand where you're coming from. Um, Last spring, I worked in GTRI Cypher, so it's like Cyber Information Protection Hardware Evaluation and Research Lab.
Oh
Uh,
wow.
it's a long acronym, but yeah. So I worked in Cypher as a quantum systems division student assistant. So a little bit outside of my field, but there I worked on creating a minimized mass spectrometer for an internal research and development project that they were doing in the lab. So I created, it was actually a lot of electrical engineering. I created like voltage divider and I used like a step up converter and did a bunch of stuff, ordered the parts. I didn't realize that I was ordering it from the UK, so it took like a month to get here. So
Yeah.
by the time like I was already like by the time they got there, I was like already gone.
Yeah.
Uh, but yeah, so that was pretty interesting. And then I created like some CAD models for an XYZ plus rotation stage. It was just some kind of spectrometer. Like it was a very early like conceptual like design they had with the Department of Energy for an experiment. That's
Yeah.
about the most I know about it. But
Yeah.
that was pretty interesting too. And then currently I work at ELSYS. That's the electrical systems lab. But I work in CERD, which is the Systems Engineering Research Division,
Okay.
and I work in MBSE, which is Model Based Systems Engineering. A lot of acronyms.
Yeah.
Right
Okay.
now, I'm a system modeler doing two projects. So one for the Air Force on GARA, which is the Government Avionics Reference Architecture. So a lot of acronyms. It's basically creating a standard for how the government's gonna create architecture framework for avionic boxes. So like
Okay.
right now, there's no like overarching like standard for avionics because in avionics are the boxes that like the electrical systems that go inside of aircraft.
Mhm.
So essentially it's like creating standard interfaces and standard systems for how we do avionics for the Air Force. So you can kind of, it's like having like if you know what USB-C is, it's like
Mhm.
basically like having USB-C but for everything, right? That's
Okay.
cool. So that's the one project. And another one I'm working on is it's called Flint. I can't remember the name of the acronym for that one. It's basically a Navy budgeting tool, which helps them like they put inputs into it and then they can actually predict like it gives them different options based on how to like spend their money
Mhm.
with different constraints for future endeavors. So if you say like there's this many people with this much money and you have these this and this and that, it's like a multi-variable like solver, and then it gives them a lot of options to choose from, saying, okay, we want to go this route with the budget or this
Yeah.
route. That's more like above my pay grade because that's like more Pentagon level, like how
Yeah.
they. So I'm doing internal modeling for the software division of GTRI as they write the software for it.
You've done a lot of things.
I've done a couple of things.
Did you have a favorite project in that group?
Um, Favorite project. So quantum systems was a little interesting because it was so not my major. It was
Mm.
actually because I'd had people ask me every week, like, wait, you're in aerospace? And 'cause everyone there was physics or quantum physics or electrical engineering. There were no AEs. So it was just funny, like getting the questions and stuff. But
Yeah.
um favorite project. Probably my favorite one is actually like my least technical one. It was my freshman year research where I created like different prototypes and variations to like the intro to aerospace engineering like balsa wood project.
Yeah.
So uh, long story short, they have a flat like plane for their balsa wood gliders, and the
Mhm.
project was to make airfoils and integrate that with the current design. So I got to experiment like because I had no idea about any aerodynamics or
Mhm.
structures or anything. So I was making stuff up and researching as I went. So I learned a lot. I probably learned the most from that just because I knew nothing.
Yes.
So I created a program in MATLAB that would like take the NACA airfoil like coordinates that you could find online and it convert it into an what is called an AutoCAD file, and then you can take
Mhm.
that AutoCAD file and then laser cut it at the makerspace. So you can take it from concept to like physical like airfoil using the solver that I created. So that was cool. Um,
Wow.
yeah. So yeah, that was probably the most fun I've had. And I'd say like the most fulfilling thing I've done was probably like when I was working a summer outreach program freshman year. So like it was during COVID, so it was really challenging. But essentially, we sent out like these robot like rover kits to a bunch of students in the area in Atlanta,
Mhm.
and we helped them build rovers from like their homes and stuff. So that was cool. Like they programmed it and uploaded the code, flashed the firmware. I'm sorry, and
Yeah.
then put it together and like it was cool.
Wow. I feel that's a long list of projects and a good group of projects too.
A lot
Yeah.
of projects. You gotta keep. I say keep yourself busy because when I kind of realized that like man, like school's hard, but let me find ways to enjoy like my major, because
Yeah.
if you only focus on school, like I'd say like, there's a lot of different things that the school provides in just classes because
Yeah.
anyone can just teach you things. Like everyone can just learn the material, right? What does your surrounding provide you that other people don't have, and you can take
Yeah.
advantage.
That's a good way to remember to take advantage of all the things that you don't even realize that you're paying for on a school campus. So
Absolutely. Yeah, I know. I tell people it's cheaper to 3D print things here than it is to print things on paper.
listen, I got to my senior year and I was like, I never 3D printed anything at this school
Yeah.
and I paid for it. So then I just started 3D printing random things. I didn't need them, but I was just like, I've paid for this for 4.5 years and never used it.
Yeah, we like literally like it is cheaper to it's just insane because you can
Yeah.
3D print whatever you want. Like you can laser cut 3D print, like it's insane. So
Yeah.
yeah, the resources are really cool.
Yeah. Very true. Very true. Prior to getting into like your aerospace coursework, did you have any misconceptions that got cleared up as you started going through the coursework?
Um, Probably my biggest misconception was thinking I just come in and get an A like I did in high school. Um,
Oh boy, we know that's not true.
oh my goodness. Yeah, I didn't have any understanding of aerospace. Like I came in completely fresh. Like the only experience I've had doing aerospace engineering was flying in a plane as a passenger. Like
All right.
that's about it. Yeah, I don't know. I'd say like I came in so like blank slate that like, I didn't really have too many misconceptions. I'd say like um yeah, probably like understanding the intensity of the school was probably the biggest one. Like I knew it was hard, but like I didn't know what kind of hard it was, and it's pretty rough.
Yeah. I think that was one of mine too. Like I was in my head, I thought I was prepared because I was like, oh yes, it's gonna be hard. I don't think it's gonna be easy. But
Yeah.
also I didn't know I was gonna struggle the way that I did.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, it was a different kind of struggle. I learned how to study. I learned how to get tutoring. I never, all of high school, all of middle school, ever gotten tutoring.
right.
But I get tutoring I use when first and second year, I got tutoring very regularly.
Mhm.
Third year even, like fourth year is like I've learned to make study groups. So like I get tutoring in a different way. I get tutoring
Yeah.
peers and stuff.
Yeah.
So yeah, like my biggest advice to people is like be friendly, okay? Because tech students are weird. Like we're like it's like I'll be at the gym and I'm like, hey man, want to work in with me? He's like like so like just be friendly, meet a lot of people because a lot of the people I just met on a whim my freshman year are now like my best friends and they're helping me in like insane ways. The friends that I've made of the friends I have are like some of like it's just insane. So just be
Yeah.
friendly, meet people, and like especially if they're in your major, they'll be your closest confidants.
Yeah.
Not have made it like this is not a single player game.
It really is not. It is a multiplayer game. A lot of multiplayers.
Right? Like if you're trying to do the single player, you are playing the game wrong, and you're probably gonna lose. I mean, some people might win, but probably lose. And why lose when you got other people to help you out?
Right. That is really good. What do you wish you would have known before you kind of touched on this a little bit, but before you got into aerospace or before you came to college in general?
Yeah. Like what I wish I would have known. There are a lot of things. So it's either like a really long list or just a couple of short bullets. So what I wish I would have known is that, like I said earlier, school is not like the only thing that defines you, and your GPA is not a measure of your person. That is the number one thing because that is a lot of everyone here like very high performers in high school. Like everyone's incredibly smart. All the alumni, everyone like so. I have intense, especially you did electrical engineering. Miss me for that. I could. That's like probably the most impressive thing I can think of is graduating electrical, like it's imaginary stuff. I can't even imagine it. But everyone's like was a high performer. So just like understanding that like, you know, your GPA is not just like the only measure of you. You know, you can't just attach like your worth to that. There's a lot of things because people are complex. You know, you have to view people as a whole, right? And when you apply to jobs and internships, like when I got my internship with Boeing, my GPA was like the lowest it was like for um it was around the lowest it's ever been like during except for my freshman year, it was about the lowest. But I was able to just keep my head up and just keep working hard because yeah, like GPA does not define you and your failures don't define you either. Like I almost lost Zell Miller like my first semester here, and now I'm on track to graduate with highest honors. Like
Yes.
I know it's like I would have
Congrats.
thank you. I would have never ever thought that. Like, if you asked me freshman year, like I was just more concerned about like, not failing out of this school. And
Yeah.
now it's like, I've been able to do all these things, right? But you just got to keep your head up. Don't beat yourself up too much. Because honestly, what happens is like I realize that getting internships and stuff actually helps like self-confidence, my motivation. Then I perform better in school because of it. Because I'm like, you know what, this is more just verifying that I know what I already know, that I am a good student. So
Yeah, that's really good. That is really good. Okay, we're gonna switch gears and I'm gonna ask you some questions that might require your imagination a little bit more.
all right.
If you could pick a skill from any other major, what would it be and why? And it doesn't have to be a STEM skill.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. I definitely got this one. Probably political science or international affairs in terms of public speaking. And specifically speaking to non-technical people. Um, like I said, like tech students they're kind of weird, bro. So like smartest people you'll ever meet. Okay, don't ever forget that. But like not everyone's really great at like talking about what their technical project is.
Yeah.
So that is the by far the best skill I think I could have is like those interpersonal, like being able to explain things and not just explain, but excite people about like these really technical things. Because
Yeah.
if you excite people about technical things, then you can get investment money and you can grow your company or your business, whatever. So
Yeah.
that's probably the number one skill I'd take away from another major.
Yes, that's good. If you could switch to another major, like if aerospace didn't exist and you had to switch, what would you switch to?
Man, so it would not be in engineering actually, because
Okay.
so I'm kind of if you've met any other aerospace people, you know that we kind of have a superiority complex. So like ME is like aerospace but lesser. Electrical engineering, computer engineering, like what else is there? Like so if I like civil is just like concrete, right? So like I'm kind of running out of engineering at this point. If I did another major, like realistically, it would probably be mechanical, but like honestly, I'm a business major at heart. I like business a lot. I like understanding how business things work. I want to go to business school like for my MBA and stuff like that. So probably business. I would probably have a STEM twist with it, like CS or something. But yeah, business. I like business a lot. Like I like that intersection of creating, developing, and then selling, and produce and just networking with other people and stuff. I like talking to people.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. That's a good one. So when you're working on multidisciplinary projects and you're working with maybe electricals or computer engineers, what do you think is unique about your perspective as an aerospace engineer?
Um, yeah, that's actually so my current job, I guess I've done mostly interdisciplinary actually. I've never really just worked with aerospace. It's really interesting. So I would say like especially for like my summer internship, I was my boss was an electrical engineer. The guy in the cubicle next to me was mechanical, another one was manufacturing, and then I had like an aerospace like technologies person. Like they're all like all over the place, right?
Yeah.
I think what I brought to the table was just kind of understanding like aerospace systems, like understanding like the big picture, I guess you could say, like understanding like how these things like impact other systems. So like I'd ask a lot of questions about like downstream effects from what we're doing. So if I'd ask like you know, like on the MQ-25, like we had a refueling pod that created an asymmetry, right? So me as the aerospace person's like, I see that. I'm like, if there's an asymmetry, you're going to create a moment, like a drag moment that's
Mhm.
going to affect the yawing and the rolling, right? So it's things like that. Like I look at it like that perspective.
Yeah.
The electrical engineer probably looks at it like nothing because everything they do is um
Listen, my internship at NASA, I had to like, I was validating the math that the rover was doing. And when I first seen the words yaw, pitch, and roll, and when I was trying to figure out what are the name of the coordinates? Um, I can't even remember, but it was like everything was going over my head. I had to take so much. I think I took like a week just to understand like the mathematical terms and like
oh
what
yeah.
those things mean. I was like, wow, shout out to the aerospace engineers because
Yeah.
y'all pitch and roll. I was so confused. What were those coordinates called?
I think I remember the name, just like dynamics, right? Like it's like precession, like things like, are you talking about that one or
I don't even remember. It was so many things. But yeah, so just when you said y'all pitch and roll, I thought about how much I had to struggle to understand those things. So
yeah, no, it's insane. But like I can't look at like a circuit diagram for it. Like it's confusing.
it's so interesting the things that now come naturally to us. Like I can look at a circuit and be like, oh, okay, that's a filter. Or, oh, okay, it's second order, whatever, whatever.
Yeah,
But
no.
I remember being a freshman thinking to myself, I'll never understand what this circuit is. And now here I am with a job and I be knowing circuits. So
No, well, they told me like, you know, they're like, okay, do we want to use a MOSFET switch or a opto isolator? I'm like, I'm like, I'll get back to you.
yeah. But it's always fun for me, like when I was working with NASA, like researching other things that I would have never otherwise known as an electrical engineer, because we don't need y'all pitch and roll. Like
Yeah.
normally there's an aerospace person for that. So that's always fun to kind of see what other people learn though. Um, what is it? You might have touched on this already, but what is a skill that you think all STEM majors should have?
Okay. I'd say there's two skills that all STEM majors should have.
Okay.
Or there's a lot of skills. I'd say like resilience, especially to failure. So I think anyone actually can major in STEM. I don't think everyone can like graduate in 4 years or you know 5, but I think almost anyone can like do a STEM degree.
Mhm.
It just takes a level of resilience, a level of being comfortable with failure and not getting everything the first time. That's I think the biggest one. Like resilience, like I'd say like you shouldn't not do something because it's hard. You should
Yeah.
not do something because you're not interested or not passionate about it. That's the only reason shouldn't do anything or quit something.
Right.
Um, so, yeah, that's the number one thing is resilience. Number two is like I talked about this, like talking to people, like learning how to like talk to people about like what you're doing, talking, like asking questions and stuff like that, like being curious, just like having those communication skills. They go a long way. They go a very, very, very long way
Yeah.
in industry. And you can tell the people that have those skills, and it's very enjoyable talking to them about technical things. People that don't have those skills, they're very smart, but like it's like I feel like a fourth grader like talking to other people. I'm like, okay. So those are I'd say those are the two main ones. And then like in terms of like hard skills, like I'd say like math.
Yeah.
Yeah, like that's just something like there's a lot of math for at least for engineering. A lot of honestly like STEM in general, like you know, even this everyone does a lot of math. So you have to like be in love with it, but I feel like you have to tolerate math enough to get through everything because a lot of like the basic things that I used in high school that you know people like man calculus is kind of dumb because you know it's like you kind of changes the way you look at
Yeah.
problems you know because you're like okay that obviously is a derivative of something so like where did that come from like that's the kind of thinking that you do as an engineer
Yeah.
so yeah just math so like talking math and then resilience I think those are three pretty good baselines for people.
Yeah. And I think super important in school, but it also transcends when you like get into the job that you'll have after school because a lot of things fail in the real world.
Yeah.
It's so funny because when you first start learning the engineering, everything is like the ideal case.
Oh, it's all ideal.
All ideal case. There's not really any resistance and nothing ever fails, and there are no outside things that affect this. And then you get into the real world and it's like, no, everything pretty much fails, and everything that's created is a workaround to something else that failed.
Mm-hmm.
So
No, seriously, like I learned over the summer, you can have the best CAD model, and that's like computer aided design. It's like the graphics. You can have the best CAD model with the best tolerances and the best locations for everything. And then the manufacturer sends you back the thing, and the holes are drilled in at an angle. And you're like, okay, so we have two options. We can either get mad and send it back and be like, fix this, or we're gonna be behind schedule anyways. What do we do? How do
yeah,
we fix it now? Like that's something I never would have even thought of a problem. Like they just screwed it in wrong.
yeah.
That's just real world. Like things just do not work.
Things just do not work. And then the talking bleeds right into that, because then when things don't work, you got to explain, well, this is what I was going to do, but now because of this issue, this is what I'm going to have to do. And who do we need to talk to in order to make sure this never happens
Yeah,
again?
you gotta know the people too. You really gotta know you gotta know who does what. That's a huge thing. It
Yes.
is a lot harder to kind of figure out like who specifically is in charge of this thing because
Yes.
companies are huge, even
Companies are huge.
they're huge. So yeah, I know.
Yeah, because when you're at school, you're working with your project group. And when you work in a company, like you're getting parts shipped from Bangalore and like the UK, and you have to figure out, like you said, who to talk to, who owns what, because it might be a problem. You might get a board and it has a problem that you don't even own. Like you don't own this problem, but now it's your problem. So
Yeah.
now somebody has to explain to you how the problem occurred and how you can fix it. So yeah, talking, resilience,
Mhm.
those are really good ones. Um, if you worked for a dictionary company and they came to you and they said, we need you to write the definition of an aerospace engineer, what would you write?
um okay, so I would say number one thing is most aerospace engineers aren't aerospace engineering majors. Um, that's something to remember that like when I say aerospace engineers, I mean someone working in aerospace, right?
Right.
People work there are not aerospace engineers. A lot of electrical, a lot of mechanical, not many aerospace. The definition of an aerospace engineer. Oh, that's so hard. I would say there's somebody that worked like an engineer. Oh, you can't use the. Oh, you can't use that. Okay, they're a person that works on technical problems in aeronautics, astronautics, or rotorcraft. That's what I would say.
That was good.
Yeah.
I would, if I was your boss, you get a check for that definition.
Yeah, but there's probably someone that's upset with that definition because you can argue aeronautics and rotorcraft are the same. I don't even want to get
It's okay. It's
it.
based on your experience. Because,
Yeah.
sometimes when I was trying to figure out what I want to do with my life and I would like Google what is an electrical engineer, there were a lot of words that when I look back and I think about what I do now, I would change those words
Yeah.
because, but
Yeah, like if you want to get into like the nitty gritty, a lot of aerospace engineers are actually like, more like system engineers. Um, yeah, that gets into like another can of worms in my opinion because a lot of it's interesting. A lot of the engineering, a lot of the hard work, like those like small technical problems, like this box of stuff has already been done. So it's like rearranging and utilizing things and bring them together.
yeah.
So yeah, we have we have new problems and stuff, but it's very interesting how like companies like Boeing and Lockheed do their engineering.
Yeah. I feel like when I interned at JPL, a lot of who I met were systems engineers. Like that's how they introduced themselves. And I'm sure at some point they did some aerospace stuff, but most of them that I met were systems engineers. So, but I guess it makes sense because with something that flies or, is in the aerospace category, you probably should think about it as a big system because everything affects everything. So,
Yeah.
yeah. In 10 seconds or less, 10 seconds ish, why should someone study aerospace engineering?
Okay, 10 seconds starting now. Okay, so you should study aerospace because it is literally like the limits of humankind in terms of space, in terms of aeronautics and hypersonics. It's the limits of what we can do.
That was great. And if I heard that before I discovered I wanted to be an electrical engineer, I might switch because that was a good pitch.
I'm telling you, like, did you see what NASA just did? They literally are deflecting an asteroid right now. Like, that's the kind of things aerospace people do. Okay,
Yeah,
like,
that's good. All right. So if you could take all of your aerospace engineering knowledge, systems engineering knowledge, and you could replace any fictional character in their universe, who would it be and why? And it doesn't have to be like STEM related. You just get to take all of your knowledge right now as an aerospace engineer into this universe.
a universe.
Yeah, any fictional character you want.
Hmm. Or probably, I don't like, do I have to replace a fictional character or can I just like work alongside them?
Okay, you can work alongside them if that's easy for you to answer the question.
I would say, because like, I would say Interstellar, because, I want to get left behind, like, I
Right.
want to, because, the whole thing with the time stuff, so I want to mess around with that, but like, probably Interstellar. Actually, no, they're doing some weird stuff in Interstellar. I don't know. Maybe like I forgot the name of the movie, but like a fictional universe. Oh, that's such a can of worms. I could I could do a lot of stuff in the MCU, I guess. That'd be fun.
Yeah.
I'm thinking too hard about this. Like I'm just like trying to like do like a cost benefit analysis, like okay, what I know, like how useful is it in relation to what they know, or like do they know more than I know? Then it's not that useful. But yeah, I'd probably like sit back seat in Interstellar. That's what I'll
Yeah.
do. Yeah.
Okay. That's fine. That's a good one. That's a good one. Okay. So you're a fourth year, right?
Yes.
Are you getting ready to graduate in May? Is it spring, December?
Yeah, I'm gonna graduate in May in 4 years. That's an anomaly, by the way.
You're graduating in 4 years with an aerospace engineering
Yeah,
degree?
like I said, that's because I've been able to because I'll say like to any high schoolers that are watching this, two words: dual enrollment.
Ah,
Dual enrollment, especially if you're a
wow.
Georgia student. Dual enrollment is like robbing a bank. Okay, that's what I would say it is. It is literally like being. It's like being able to just rob a bank. Because I saved about a year of my life by taking 4 classes at the community college, and then I did a lot of APs and stuff. But like just the way they do AP transfers and dual enrollment credits, and maybe it's not gonna be like this forever, but like right now, it's like robbing a bank and it's like completely illegal. So yeah, that's the only reason I'm able to graduate in 4 years.
Wow, that's still good. Congratulations. That
Okay.
is amazing. Wow. Okay, okay. So when you graduate, do you have any goals? I remember you said you want to be a program manager. You thinking about your master's? Like, what are your goals
Yeah.
after?
So it's kind of a loaded. So like I have got 2 screens right now actually. So you don't know this, but I've got my my resume for grad school like on another screen. That's
Okay.
what so I'm in BSMS and I'm also in Air Force RTC. So I contracted with the Air Force a year ago. So I got my job for the Air Force. I'm going to be an aeronautical engineer, um, engineering officer. So I'm going to be working like with contractors like Boeing and Lockheed on doing stuff
Mhm.
that is related with planes and stuff and things. But so that's what I'm going to do when I graduate. I'm applying for an admin delay, which I'm probably going to get because it's like a year wait between when I graduate and when I start my job in the Air Force. Um, so I'm going to do my master's in aerospace engineering in that year. I have. So once I graduate in May, I'm probably going to start grad school in May.
Okay. At
uh,
Tech.
yeah, tech.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so good. First of all, congratulations on all that. That is
Uh,
absolutely amazing.
Yeah, no, I definitely just made it here because the support system, it's not a single player game.
Yeah, it is not. That is the best. That's the some of the best advice I've heard. It is not a single player game, and that's how you succeed.
Yeah, you shouldn't be doing homework by yourself. You really shouldn't be doing homework. There's probably someone else struggling on the other half of the homework that you're struggling on right now.
Yes.
You just
So
gotta be comfortable with talking to people.
yes, go get that help because why would, like you said, why would I struggle if you know how to do it, and there's something that I know that you don't know. So let's figure it out.
Yeah.
Yes, yes, yes. What do you think studying aerospace engineering has taught you about yourself?
It taught me that like I'm a lot more like resilient than I thought I was. I'm not gonna lie, like there's sometimes like sophomore year, sophomore year, I failed over half of my tests. Okay, I did the math because I'm like, why was I so miserable sophomore year? And I did the math, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I failed 56% of the exams I took. Not failing like a B. I'm talking failing like a 50. Okay, like I failed over. So, and despite all of that, I was still able to get 2 internship offers, or actually 4 internship offers, and like still continue with the degree. So like just like I was at the lowest I've ever been, and it was so hard, and it was struggling and everything. And I'm like, man, I really just want to stop doing aerospace engineer. But yeah, I just kind of kept with it because like low-key a little bit out of spite, because I was like, man, tech hates me this much. I'm gonna graduate with this degree just to rub it in your face. But no, it really just kind of taught me that like, you shouldn't not do something because it's hard.
Right.
That would have been the wrong reason to quit.
Absolutely.
So,
Yes. Georgia Tech in general taught me that I was a lot tougher than I thought I was. Because let me tell you, I don't know what it was about freshman and sophomore year. They really
and
came out swinging.
because you must have only been the only like Black woman in your classes, like for all 4 years, probably.
I remember one other Black woman in one of my senior classes.
Yeah.
But really, I think for the most part, yeah, it was just me. Listen, let me tell you.
Yeah.
It was a shock at first, even though I knew I was going to a PWI, but I grew up and went to a majority Black high school, middle elementary school. And then you go to one of the blackest cities in the United States, in Atlanta, and then you at a PWI, and it's like
funny. It's like a bubble. Like it's like, all right, black, what?
So it was very much a shock, very much something I had to like. The imposter syndrome, very heavy freshman year.
Yeah.
I didn't want to ask no questions. I really just didn't want to be looked at any more than I was already looked at. But then I started failing those tests, and the person next to me was not failing the test, and I was like, I need to be friends with this person. And most also they were all white males, and I was like, I need to be friends with everyone in this class who knows what's going on. So that kind of helped me get over, that part of it. And then, feeling like you had to prove yourself all the time. The first 2 years were very heavy with like other mental battles, and then also failing all your classes. So it was a struggle.
Failure until like you go to freaking tech. Oh my gosh. I'm sure you were too, like top of your class, like straight A. Like I don't even know what a 4.0 looks like anymore.
Listen, it was a struggle, but it taught me a lot about myself. It taught me a lot about what I was capable of, not just technically and academically, but socially. And again, how to talk to people, because like you said, sometimes tech people can be a little, but just being like, hey, let's study together because you made an A on this test and I did not. I won't tell you what I made, but just know it's not an A, So yes, shout out to tech for beating me up until I figured it out, I guess.
Yeah. I'd say the biggest skill I've learned probably was just like being able to digest technical things.
I just told somebody this the other day. Another thing that tech taught me was how to learn, like how to take in a bunch of random technical information, digest it, and figure out what I need, what I don't, how to learn the things I do need in a very quick way. Because tech was not a slow paced place. So, and that really comes in handy in the workplace when I got like 5 different projects I'm working on and people throwing stuff at me left and right. I flew back yesterday and all of a sudden I had a new project on my calendar today when I came in. So, having to learn really quickly is very, very great skill.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. So we are going to get into the last round of questions, which I like to call the lightning round pop quiz.
Okay.
I'm going to give you.
Oh my gosh.
Do you guys have a lot of pop quizzes in aerospace?
No, that'd be demonic.
I really don't recall too many pop quizzes once I got into like my major study. I feel like they were mostly in like the general math classes
math classes and stuff. Like there's no reason to give people a pop quiz, man. Not here. Like
no. The quizzes that were playing were pop enough for me. Okay.
Yeah, hard enough. Like I don't know what you're popping the quiz for.
Exactly.
All right.
Okay, I'm gonna give you this or that statements, and you can just respond with whatever resonates the most in your spirit. Okay.
Okay.
All right. Would you rather have a project assignment or a homework assignment?
Project assignment.
Would you rather have a final project or a final exam?
Final project. Oh,
Group project or solo project?
group project.
Study group or study solo?
Study group.
Meal plan or cook your own food?
Cook your own food every single day.
Would you rather ask the professor for help or a TA?
Mm. That one depends. Professor.
Okay.
Depends. That depends. That's a big asterisk. It depends on what class it is.
Okay. Would you rather have an internship or co-op?
Co-op. But me personally, I can't have a co-op, but I wish I had a co-op.
Okay. Do you prefer the fall semester or the spring semester?
Spring semester.
Oh, okay. Roommates or no roommates?
Roommates.
All right. Last question. Would you rather have 8 a.m.s Monday through Thursday or 5 to 8 labs on a Friday?
8 a.m.s. I get up at 5 a.m. every day. So
You get up at 5 a.m. every day.
tomorrow morning, I'm gonna get up at 5 a.m. Go to the gym.
Do you like work out before your day starts, or you just like to be up?
So Tuesdays and Thursdays, because first 2 years of college, I was doing 5 a.m. for RTC.
Mhm.
I was getting up at 5 a.m. for RTC. And then I'd have like like whiplash basically, because like I have a 10 a.m. the next day, so I'd sleep in and it's like, okay, then I gotta go to bed at like 9 this day, go to bed at 12 the next. So junior year, I figured out like, hey, I can just wake up at 5 a.m. every day and get a workout in Monday, Wednesday, Friday. So I lift in the mornings, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Tuesday, Thursday, I do my ROTC stuff. And lately, I've been like getting up at like 7:30 on Saturdays to go run.
Wow.
Yeah, because like over the summer, like that's like was peak me for my regime. Like I woke up 5:30 every single morning because in the Midwest, for some reason, I feel like the sun rises earlier there. I don't know if it's
Hey, when I first moved here, I was like, why is the sun up at 5 a.m.?
okay.
I'm
That's what I'm saying.
asleep.
Yeah, the sun is up like way earlier in the Midwest. Like I was like, man, my eyes are hurting. Why are the sun like attacking my eyes right now? So I just said, screw it. I'll get up at 5:30 with the sun, and that helped my sleep a lot. So
Wow.
I,
And
yeah.
I know it's a cheat code because if you wake up earlier in the day, you can do so many more. Like you feel the difference in your day when you wake up earlier and you can get more things done. But I got a job that's paying me and I can't get up. I mean,
It depends on your schedule and everything. I'm just glad because aerospace is kind of like notorious for 8 a.m.s, like because it's impossible to not do 8 a.m. for aerospace because like for thermal fluids and then aerodynamics, those are both Monday, Wednesday, 2-hour 8 a.m. classes. So like,
ew,
yeah,
that is awful.
not Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 8 a.m. classes.
On a Friday, EE had Friday afternoon labs, which I thought
Oh no, nah,
I got stuck with one either once or twice, but it was bad. And I was like, senior year, I'm not doing an 8 a.m. or Friday lab, not happening.
yeah.
So, yes. Okay. I'm going to open the floor for you one last time. Do you have any parting words of wisdom or advice for anyone who may want to study aerospace engineering or a STEM field in general?
Yeah, so with STEM field, don't be intimidated. I genuinely believe that anyone can do it. When I say anyone, I mean like most people. Okay, because like that's most people. But like really, like, I think way more people can do it than they discount themselves. Like I think most people kind of tell themselves they're not good at math. All right, when realistically they might just need more time. A lot of the times, like how well you understand something is just the professor or your teacher. Like it's crazy. Like you can give the exact same test to two different groups of students, taught by two different people, and they will get vastly different scores, right?
Mm-hmm.
So realistically, like I really do believe that most people can succeed in STEM. My advice is like, if you're passionate about something like, aerospace or STEM, just go for it. And it's gonna be hard. And if you can embrace that like hardness and realize that like, it'll be worth it in the end, like that's all I would say. Just understand like there's an end to it.
Yes.
That's how I keep telling myself.
And there is. You're about to graduate with honors in the spring. So there is an end to it. And when you get to the end, it feels so good. When you finally walk across the stage and you realize that you came out on top after all those times you thought tech was gonna come out on top, and you got your degree. The joy. I'm so excited for you to feel that joy.
Yeah, no, it'll be funny for me because like I'll put on my cap and gown, walk across the stage, take it off, and go do some more homework because I got class the next week.
That's okay. That means you're gonna get
I'm gonna walk twice.
you're gonna win twice.
Yeah.
A master's and a bachelor's from Georgia Tech. Incredible. So
Definitely.
Thank you for that parting advice. What you about to say?
I'm just saying it was a support system that got me this.
Listen,
the support system. I wish I had someone that was talking to me like this, like, hey man, you're gonna be okay.
Yeah. A lot of the goal with this is anything you wish you would have been told, anything you wish somebody would have said to you or imparted to you. That's why you had the floor, because sometimes you just need to feel seen. Like even when sometimes things are hard, yes, but sometimes in the midst of all that, you just need to feel seen and heard, and like a hug. Sometimes somebody's words can just be like a hug to you. So thank you for doing this. Thank you for giving your verbal hug to anyone who may be listening. And I really appreciate you and your time today.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.